What's happening, my Jacked family? Coach Scott here, jackedafter40.com. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing 3 must-do glute exercises for men over 40, along with some variations of each one. And before you go thinking that glute exercises are just for women who want to get famous on Instagram, I'll be sharing the reasons why it's so important that men over 40 include these glute exercises in their workout plans. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. I'd really appreciate it. You want to see more videos like this? Be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that alert button so you're notified each time I upload a video. Before you go, be sure to drop a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite glute exercises are and if you are including, how you're including glute exercises in your overall training. The first reason why men over 40 should build stronger glutes is that oftentimes low back pain and low back issues are caused by having weaker glutes. So having stronger glutes can help alleviate or even prevent low back pain or low back issues that you may be experiencing. The second reason why men over 40 should build stronger glutes is vanity and attractiveness. Strong glutes are freaking sexy, and some would argue that strong glutes are a sign of having a powerful thrust, which is also very attractive. And the third reason why men over 40 should build stronger glutes is that strong glutes help you perform better with other leg exercises in your training plan, such as the squat and the deadlift. And when you do like we do in the Jacked After 40 hardcore shred system and begin your leg workouts with one of these glute exercises that I'm going to share in today's video, it will enhance your mind muscle connection not only with your glutes but your hamstrings as well, which is going to carry over into every other leg exercise in your workout for that day. Let's get started with glute exercise number 1, and that is the glute bridge. For this movement, you're just going to lie down on the floor with your feet in pretty close to your butt. You don't want your feet out too far away. That's going to prevent you from getting a full extension at the hips there. Now what you want to make sure is that all the force is going through your hips here. You're trying to drive your hips upwards as high as you can without getting your lower back involved. There should be no arching of your lower back. You shouldn't feel any kind of fatigue in your lower back. Your lower back should actually be pretty damn relaxed throughout this entire movement here. So you're just gonna drive your hips upwards as high as you can without arching your lower back, and then squeeze your glutes in the top portion of the movement. Not only is that gonna help you activate your glutes to the best of your ability, but it's also gonna help you get a little bit more extension at the top there. If you can't get full extension, chances are your hips are a bit tight, and we'll save that for another video ahead. You can make the glute bridge more challenging by adding some resistance, either by resting a dumbbell across your hips or a barbell across the hips. This will definitely reduce the number of reps that you can perform, but the resistance will offer a whole different challenge and experience with this exercise. The first variation of the glute bridge is a single leg glute bridge, and here you're going to elevate one foot off the ground. I prefer to have that knee bent and angled up towards your body. There's going to be a lot more stabilization involved in this movement, so there's going to be more activation of that glute, and it's going to make this exercise more challenging. All the same rules apply, so driving through the hips and not allowing your lower back to get involved in this movement. So go up as high as you possibly can without arching your lower back. The second variation of the glute bridge is a single leg elevated glute bridge, and here instead of having your foot on the floor, you're going to have it up on a bench and the other leg up in the air, knee bent, angled up towards your body. Here you want to make sure that your body is in close to the bench. So instead of when you're lying on the floor and you have your foot in close to your butt, here you're going to have your butt in close to the bench. So you don't want to allow your body to drift too far away from the bench. It's just going to prevent you from getting that full extension. So in nice and tight, drive as hard as you can with your heel into that bench and drive your force through your hips once again. So all those same rules apply. Don't arch your lower back. Don't get your lower back involved in this movement at all. Now let's move on to the second glute exercise for men over 40, and that is the hip thrust. Here you're going to place your head and a bit of your upper back on the bench. The rest of your body is hanging off. Your knees are going to be bent at a 90-degree angle. You'll drop your hips towards the floor and then thrust them up, much like you did the glute bridge, where all the force is going through your hips. You're driving up as high as your hips will allow you to without arching your lower back. Again, the lower back is not involved in this movement at all, so you shouldn't feel any kind of fatigue there at all. In the top range of the motion, I want you squeezing your glutes as hard as you can. That's going to allow you to get that full extension and maximize the activation here. I want you to hold that squeeze for a good 4 or 5 seconds, even a little bit longer. While you're holding that squeeze, I want you to drive your heels in hard into that floor, and I want you to think of scraping gum off the bottom of your shoes. So it's like you're creating a force where your heels are coming, the force is going from your heels towards your body, like back towards your glutes. You're gonna feel your hamstrings and glutes engage like crazy here. The contraction there is gonna be absolutely off the charts. Lower your hips down to the ground and then up again, thrust through your hips, squeeze the glutes as hard as you can, drive your heels into the floor as hard as you can, and pretend like you're scraping gum off the floor. So it's an intense, hard force that you're driving into that floor and trying to pull back towards your glutes at the same time. So really creating an intense squeeze, an intense contraction with this movement. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can place a dumbbell or a barbell across your hips as well. The first variation of the hip thrust is a single leg hip thrust. Going to make this movement more challenging. There's more stability involved here. You're going to have one foot elevated off the ground. I prefer to have that knee bent, angled up towards your body. All the same rules apply here, dropping the hips, driving all that force through your hips upwards, going as high as you can, extending those hips as high as you can without arching that lower back, squeezing the glutes in the top. If you can, drive that heel in hard, and it's a little more challenging to try to scrape that gum off the bottom of your shoes here, creating that inward force where that heel is driving in towards your butt, but give it a shot with the single leg variation. It is challenging. It's gonna light your glutes on fire and activate them like crazy. The second variation of the hip thrust is using a hip thrust machine as demonstrated here by my fellow Jacked After 40 bro, Adam Wilkes. With this machine, it's very similar to creating the resistance that you'd have with a dumbbell or a barbell, but here you're gonna have a belt strapped around your waist, kind of right around the hip area. It's a little bit more comfortable. Actually, I should say it's a lot more comfortable than having a dumbbell or barbell pressed across your hips there. Plus, the machine has a bit more back support there, which I find makes it more likely that you'll get less lower back activation involved here, so it kind of takes that lower back out of the equation. All the same rules apply, driving force through the hips, extending as high as you can, squeezing the glutes at the top, driving the heels in hard into the floor, and creating that inward force where you're pretending like you're scraping gum off the bottom of your shoes. Now onto the third glute exercise for men over 40, and that is the step up. There's a few things I want you to make note of with this exercise. Number one is to control the movement throughout the entire range of motion. So nice and slow on the way down, nice and controlled, feel the tension, and try not to bounce out of the bottom and use too much momentum here. Number two that I want you to make note of is to get a full stretch in the bottom. So that foot that is up on the bench, that glute should get a huge stretch. So you want to make sure that you are lowering your body as low as you can to get a full stretch, still allowing that knee to remain above your toe. You don't want your momentum of your body swaying back at all. You should be driving yourself straight up and down. There shouldn't be any rocking back and forth with your body. So the way you're able to get deep into this movement, deep into that stretch, is by reaching the foot that's gonna touch down on the ground. I want you to reach that far back. So that's going to allow you to not only get deep into that stretch, but it's also going to stretch your hip flexors at that same time, the hip flexor of the foot that is down on the ground. And one of the reasons why it can be a challenge to get full extension with a lot of these glute exercises, the glute bridge, the hip thrust there, where you're trying to drive all that force through the hips and you can't extend fully. A lot of that has to do with having tight hips. So this is kind of killing two birds with one stone by stretching out the one hip flexor while stretching out the other glute. The other thing I want you to make note of is that free leg there, the leg that just touched down on the floor. When you're on your way up, you're driving that hip upwards, and you're driving the knee upwards, and what that's going to do is allow you to get that full extension at the hip joint. So you just got to stretch in this glute here by going down, and when you drive that leg up, that hip is popping forward. So it's like you're doing that little hip thrust and you're squeezing the glute at the top range of motion there. So three things I want you to make note of with that step up. All those exercises are fantastic to build strong glutes for men over 40. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button for me. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the alert button so you're notified each time I upload a video. Of course, I want to hear from you down in the comment section below. Did you find these tips helpful? Are you incorporating any of these exercises in your training? Do you have other favorite glute exercises that you work into your routine as well? There's tons of other glute exercises, pull-throughs, Romanian deadlifts, good mornings, all that stuff. And these 3 exercises that I shared you today will carry over with them as well. So hope you enjoyed this video. Before you go, don't forget to download your free guide, Jacked After 40. I hope you have yourself an absolutely amazing day. I'll catch you in the next video.